Like, you got to think of your future.
Yo,
And
I like
the
that
grind life,
showbiz.
a lot of people don't have a future. Like, I've lost a lot of niggas to this shit already. I'm
Yo,
probably gonna lose more niggas to this shit. Niggas have been hit and survived, but it's a tough game to navigate. You get in too deep, there's no getting out. It's it is what it is. Again, I take nothing away from it. I know niggas that do that. Do you? Like, that's what it is. And I got to make sure I say that, because by saying, oh, I don't sell drugs or I don't do this, a lot of people might interpret, oh, he doesn't fuck with those types of people. He's lying in all of his raps. Nah, my nigga, if you know me, I've been around some of the motherfucking biggest gangsters, some of the most unlike people, some of the most liked people
fair enough.
that this side of Montreal has to offer. No name drops because I don't do that shit.
Nah, I'd rather not. I'm
And
like,
most of
we're
the niggas I know in
teetering
that
on
life
like
is what
that.
matters.
I was like, we were approaching that edge of like, are we going too far with this conversation? I'm like, I try not to be
Nope,
DJ Vlad. That's a big thing for
nope.
me.
I don't do that shit. I don't even
I'm
have to
like,
be told. I'm not gonna walk down that road.
I'm
Those are
like,
stories that don't need to be told.
I appreciate somebody saying, listen, I lived experiences and these things happened to me, and the part that these experiences happen here, etc. You're affiliated with it. Things happen, and you have concern. These are all things I can state are valid things to state, because maybe somebody like me just has no idea what's going on to any degree, you know. And I say that because, like, I was motivated to similar things by watching my parents on welfare and shit. It's not exactly the same fear. It's not exactly
That's
the
fucked
same
up.
thing.
When I was younger, my parents were on welfare. My parents had to do that grind. I went to churches for
No, I
food
mean like
baskets, welcome home
I'm talking
mixing,
like today
all of
and
that.
now, my guy. I'm saying I see them today and now in their 50s. And no disrespect if you ever watched this, Mommy and Daddy, but like it's just I see that in their 50s and I see what their lives
I,
entail, and it's just like
I
yo,
see it too.
that shit's
I
it's just
still
like
have
a
family on
fire.
that shit. And yo, again, no hate to people
Yeah,
living
that's
like
it.
that, because I lived through it.
Right.
But
It,
it's not easy. It's hard.
I
But
just
I
not.
need to try everything in my fucking life to try not to live like that again, or have my kids live like that. So whatever fuck I need to do, even if I do have to go grind it out somehow, I'm gonna try to do better. Like,
Yeah, I
if I
respect that
gotta
a
go to
lot.
that, I will. But
I mean, that's
I gotta
just
bust my ass.
I mean, I believe that there are lots of positive options that are available to grind it out. I've been able to grind out lots of creative ways that were just from a computer and shit. Just tons of stuff out there to like do.
But that's what I did. That's why I went got a job. And a lot of people have said over time, like, "Oh, I can't get a job." Yo, I where I work right now, we hire people that are just like, we hire anybody and everybody. And I'm not doing no sales pitch for the job that I work at, but there are jobs out there. If you want to work, you can go out there and try to apply. It's never, ever, ever going to be what you want ever, unless you go to school, you work on your degree, and you get your shit together that way. I don't have none of that. I still make pretty good money on my job, but I've worked a lot of bullshit jobs. I've been a barista at a cafe, 6 fucking 4 almost, looking like a gangster, a barista at your favorite second cup or Starbucks. I've done that shit.
Respect.
But like,
No, I
there's
mean,
the
your ethic
you
is
gotta grind it
incredible.
out.
And I stand by that whole like people need to watch your words for those who came in later or whatever. Cause like I feel like had I talked to somebody with the way you approach music and use the language you use today, and you said that to me like 8 years ago, I would have made a lot of different choices that I made throughout the last years in terms of a lot of things. And a lot of it, I used to talk a lot of shit. If you think that little
Well,
mixtape I made a shit talkie, that was a lampoon. It was just a little joke. But
I
in general, I used
I
to just
stayed
talk a lot
in
of
the
shit.
house. I stayed in the house. As I was learning all of this shit, I didn't put on music. I didn't go chill. I wasn't out in the club. I fucking hate clubs. I've never been to a club in my life. I would rather pop a bottle and listen to music at the crib. That's how much of a homebody I am. But I learned a lot. I built a lot. I was able to develop a sound really figure out exactly what I wanted to do musically. And I was able to figure out a lot of things throughout my 20s when I didn't release music. Where I'm not gonna lie, I could have been like a lot of artists and been on this 10-year grind and have a lot of music. Sound quality doesn't sound good, lyrics aren't on point, but I just didn't feel comfortable with myself to release music to the world for everybody to hear. Very self-conscious. Social media was definitely a new thing to a lot of people back in 2009, 2010. Um, there was a lot more hate, a lot more people just going there to troll just for the hell of it. Um, so I didn't want to have to deal with a lot of that criticism. And not that I didn't, I don't think I could have. In your early 20s, you're a very fragile person. You can be. And based on my background, I was a little bit more fragile than other people. Um, so now that I'm older, I've built a little bit more confidence. And those who know me when I was younger would be like, this guy seemed confident as fuck. Yeah, but when you deal with mental health issues, it seems like that. So one day you're blessed, but every day is a struggle to get up and keep going and get to work and just keep going. Like I've been through a lot of shit where I'm sorry, it will make the hood look like a fucking walk in the park sometimes, based on shit within life outside of just being in the hood. So like I had to work on this. So like it's like, yeah, I have everything on point, but I've worked on it. I've lost a lot. I failed more times than I can count, but life keeps going, bro. Like you got to keep going, and it's just the way it is. Like mental health, first of all, is something that's slept on a lot, especially when it comes to African American communities and the hood. It gets overlooked, and there's too many people being left to the side because they're too afraid to open up about it. And I'm not gonna lie, I still don't open it up to everybody. I kind of am now on like this interview, and whoever sees it is going to know. But it gets overlooked way too much. There's a lot of people that you know that are dealing with a lot of shit, and it's not like, oh, they're a victim of domestic abuse, which a lot of people you know are. There's a lot of children in this world being fucked up. But I'm sorry, there's a lot of motherfucking people out there who are the biggest gangsters you know that have seen a lot of shit and have dealt with a lot of shit. And they're all fucked up in their head, but they still wake up, get up, and keep going. But it's something that gets overlooked. And when I was younger, I'm 30, right? So coming up in the 90s, 2000s, you talk about mental health, it was still that, oh, you're a pussy, suck it up and get back to it.
Big facts.
Like, so it's changed a lot, which is good, but there's still a lot more talking that has to go on because there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of shit, and people get the wrong impression of a lot of people based on that. Like,
Yo,
I know people right now that'll be like, yo, that guy's crazy as shit. Yeah, but you don't know what he's dealing with. You don't know if he has a support system or anything. Like, you're just judging him.
and a lot of
I know
people
a lot of
don't
people on the
have.
street degrees but don't have a support system
Right, yo, this
and didn't
is
know how
this
to
is
figure out
more
how to get
like,
to more.
I would argue this is just everyone. This isn't just the
Yeah.
hood. Like, yo, I learned something. Like, I deal with the borderline personality disorder stuffs, and I got more comfortable talking about it because it came up a few times on the interviews already. And but for like years, I didn't tell anyone at work because you don't want to be like treated different, or you don't want to be like seen as using excuses or something, because you gotta be a man about
Yeah.
your shit, and
You
you
don't want to
gotta
be
be,
looked at as weak.
because otherwise you won't be given more. You won't get that opportunity to rise. He's like that, eh? That kind of shit's real, right? So like at some point I gotta be like, yo, I gotta tell my boss one time, just so you know, if I ever snap, it's because of this, that, the next thing. But shh. So that kind of shit one two happens. But like I realized along the way that most artists I know, forget about just other, just picture it, you're an artist. This is like a masochistic lifestyle in and of itself to pursue seriously. Like you're probably coping with something to end up in a position where I feel like you're making art in a serious way past a certain level of serious, like you're past the hobby level. Like you're looking for something. I find, and I might be wrong, but I think a
No,
lot of us are dealing with stuff.